This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. There's a concerted effort underway by those who were involved in the planning, the orchestration, the carrying out of the January 6th insurrection, a concerted effort to slow the investigation to a screeching halt. The investigation that's taking place by the House Select Committee, investigating the events of that day. And the reason they're trying to slow the investigation is because if they can push this thing into 2022, past the midterms, and if Republicans take control of the House, the committee's going away. We're never going to know what exactly took place, and measures will not be taken to prevent it from happening again. Most importantly, measures will not be taken to prevent it. There's a panoply of characters, a cadre of goofs, if you will, who are involved in this effort to slow. And Steve Bannon is chief among them. I'm going to read a little bit from this Insider article, but to kind of sum it up, the Justice Department is now saying, this isn't going to take us a bunch of time to prosecute him for contempt of Congress. His lawyer is saying the trial should take days and days and days. They're saying, one day, bro, we got this. Our case is a lock. This is the article from the Insider. Trump ally Steve Bannon could be prosecuted in a single day, Department of Justice says. Federal prosecutors expect to need just one day to make their case against former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon, the Justice Department said Monday, in a court filing that pushed for the Trump ally to stand trial soon on criminal contempt of Congress charges. Now, the reason this is important because it does signal that the DOJ understands the urgency with which they must act. That they can't just sit on their hands like they've done for the entirety up to this point. They can't just follow their boss's lead, Merrick Garland, and do nothing while our country evaporates before our eyes. A federal grand jury returned an indictment last month against Bannon over his defiance of a congressional subpoena demanding that he testify and turn over documents as part of the House investigation into the January 6th attack at the Capitol. At an early court hearing, prosecutor Amanda Vaughn described the case as very straightforward as Bannon's defense team resisted the Justice Department's push to set a trial date because the only objective these assholes have is to slow it down. Everybody wants swift justice until swift justice brings justice. In Monday's filing, prosecutors predicted that their case in chief will consist of one day of testimony. Bannon's defense lawyer said their best estimate was that the trial would last about 10 days. Prosecutors also asked, it's a misdemeanor, by the way. A 10-day trial for a misdemeanor? Right. Prosecutors also asked for the trial to begin no later than April 15th. They're going to wait till April 15th here. Bannon's defense team suggested a date 6 months later, October 17th, asserting that the average life of a criminal case in the District of Columbia's federal trial court is about 1 year. That's a vast disparity in setting a trial. April 15th is too long. This thing should be going up next week. They know what they have to deal with. There's not a ton of discovery in this case. There's not a lot of pre-trial work. Make your case. Go to court. And if April 15th is too long to wait, October 17th most certainly is. Quote, in our view, this is not the average criminal case on the docket because it will take more time to obtain discovery and more time to fully brief the issues, Bannon's defense lawyer said. I was going to say something else, but try to keep it civil. The court filing further illuminated the divide between Bannon's defense and prosecutors over the pace of the proceedings. Any prosecution that House lawmakers hope would deter would-be recalcitrant witnesses from snubbing the select committees investigating the Capitol attack and build up to January 6th. The brief came a day before a second hearing before Judge Carl Nichols, a 2019 appointee to the federal trial court in Washington, D.C., who was randomly assigned Bannon's case. The Justice Department had gone decades without bringing a contempt of Congress prosecution, but the department ended that years-long drought with Bannon, who asserted executive privilege even though he hadn't served in the Trump administration since 2017. You don't get executive privilege. A former president doesn't have executive privilege to claim, one. Two, you don't get it when you weren't an employee of the president or the executive branch for 3 years prior. In announcing Bannon's indictment, Attorney General Merrick Garland stressed that it was not motivated by politics, saying the Justice Department adheres to the rule of law, follows the facts and the law, and pursues equal justice under the law. Tripping all over himself to make sure everybody knows, oh, it's not political. We know it's not political. We witnessed the crime. The Justice Department, led by Merrick Garland, should be far more aggressive about holding these people accountable, offering a consequence. Instead, they're more interested in the messaging of it, the optics of it. I'll tell you what's good optics, Merrick Garland. Prosecuting people who are attempting to destroy our country, who are shitting on our very democracy, as the Biden administration does nothing. Listen, it is incumbent upon every single one of us to demand justice under the law, whether that be for people on our side, whether that be for these other idiots who attempted to overthrow the United States government. That's what we're dealing with here. This isn't driving without a license or a DUI case, some other misdemeanor crime. This was an attempt to overthrow the United States government, a plot that Steve Bannon talked openly about on his War Room show on Real America's Voice in the lead up, yammering on and on about all hell is going to break loose. What did he mean by that, if not about the insurrection? Did he mean it was going to be a whooping, hooting, hollering good time at the rally, at the protest? No, we know what he meant. They attempted to overturn a free and fair American election, stripping you of your right to the franchise of voting in the United States, usurping democracy. And where's Merrick Garland? Not where I'd like him to be. Again, if he's not willing or able to do his job, Merrick Garland, I'm talking about, then he should step aside and allow someone else who has a passion for justice, who has a passion for maintaining the integrity of our democracy, of our republic. If Democrats are going to continue acting like it's business as usual, we're going to lose. And I don't mean we as in Democrats. I mean we as in the United States of America. Our country will dissolve. It will fundamentally change into something very different than it is right now. Donald Trump has his minions worming their way into even precinct level positions at the local level, all the way up to secretaries of state, which run elections across this country. They are making a concerted effort to try to actually rig an election. We're witnessing gerrymandering all across the country, which Merrick Garland does seem to be bringing lawsuits against Texas recently, most recently. But if we don't prosecute the ne'er-do-wells who planned and orchestrated and carried out the insurrection, funded it, we're leaving them to more games, to more bad acts, to more treachery. And I, for one, am not here for it. What do you think, though? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. It's a wild morning. All kinds of stuff is going on. Love to hear from you. You can follow me on social media. You can also sound off there. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. Instagram, Twitter. And if you appreciate what I do, if you get some information, you get some value from what I do, if I raise your blood pressure before you've even had your coffee, and you like that, you can support my work. You can go to the right below this video, click on the join button, see what's involved to become a channel member for $1.99. As little as $1.99 a month, you can become a channel member, helping support what I do, helping produce my work here. Or if Patreon is more your way, you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. That's a fantastic way to help support what I do in this operation. I love you guys. I will see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.